104K BTC. Wow, it's nice to be back above 100K. And what has woken up now? Solana we've seen, and immediately these meme coins that we were calling on Monday have started absolutely flying. So guys, is it time for the meme squeeze? Is it time for some action? Well, anyway, I've got you covered. We've got entries for you. If we're going to have a green weekend, well, this is where you need to be. So we got tons to talk about today. Let's get right into this. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. You might notice my mood is inflated because I cannot believe how nice this is. I forgot how nice it feels to be up 16% in Rune, 18% on OKB, whatever that is. Fart, 16%, Bonk, 11%. The stuff is moving again. We are pumped. The market is good. And you can see AI16Z a little bit under pressure. Now, what we have noticed today, we've seen the meme coins are popping off here and some of these AI agents are slowing down. Is it time for a narrative shift, or is this just a short little breather for us in the meantime? But we're going to find out today. I'm talking about AI agents. We're talking about some of these memes as well. And then obviously, don't forget, he's becoming a bit of a regular here. No Superman shirt today, but he's in the house. He might be bringing us some news. Hello, sir. And look who else we've got here in the house. We got DJ and Dave. He's bringing us another, after nailing the grass short and the Toshi long, he's bringing us another short and another long today. Okay, you guys, but hit those likes. Make sure you are liking the likes. Okay, and then we're gonna sort you guys out very well today. Okay, let's go BTC. Let's see what is what and what is going down. Fuck, I love this stuff. Look at this thing, absolutely cooking on a Friday. Now, this is kind of what we were looking for. We had good PPI, we had good CPI. We were saying we want this pump into this weekend leading into the Trump inauguration. Now, if we pump hard, we're obviously going to be looking to sell whatever we can. We're going to be taking profits along the way, and maybe there's going to be a couple of shorts. So Dave's got you covered on a nice short setup that he's going to bring in for you guys. But right now, what are we watching? BTC absolutely ripping. And there's a couple of things that are interesting to me now. And one of our traders in Hackers is actually currently talking about this region being our first short zone or our first rejection zone. And then obviously we've got this wick to deal with at the high. So there's a couple of areas here. And what for me is going to be the most interesting, and James was actually saying this offline a couple of seconds ago, if we reject now at this 105K zone, that's going to be quite a shitty weekend because we're going to get rinsed this afternoon, and then we're going to have to be picking up the pieces. So ideally, if there is going to be a hard rejection on BTC, I want to see it at this 107 to 108K region, and for me that would be just taking this wick out to the upside and a nice little push in there, maybe a little fake out, and then a nice sell-off. And then obviously we're going to be looking for some bullish buys. If this happens today, we're going to be looking for some bullish pullback buys perhaps this weekend, and give it one more push there for Uncle Trump. And then it's in the hands of the crypto gods after that. Anything can happen after that. So what you're going to do along the way is if Bitcoin keeps upping, you're going to keep pulling up your fib. You're going to keep raising this thing, and you're going to try and find confluence with tie-in on some horizontals. That is going to confirm your main levels. Now, because we haven't had a rejection yet, these fibs are relatively useless. So until we start flipping over, it's a useless exercise. But right now, what I can give you levels-wise, 102,500. So that is going to be your first area of interest just on these horizontals. Look at that. What a nice zone here for us. 102,500. 102,500. So that one is going to be your first main reaction zone that you're going to consider, but let it reject first. Once we get that, then we start figuring out the downside levels. But you know the trick now. And then upside, those are your danger zones. 105,600, 107 to 108K, looking for rejections there. Naturally, we could shoot a lot higher. Okay, we're going to show you the daily chart. That 113 is still a target of mine on the daily chart. So that is also on the table for us. Now, let's get into a couple of things here. And Naive says, God, please give me a sign in 2025. Now, look at this cloud. I mean, to me, I think I know what this is. Can you guys figure this one out? Dave, do you know what this is, bro?
I have
What's
no
this
idea.
cloud, bro?
It looks like pollution. Oh, it's Donald Trump.
It looks
Oh,
like
it's the hair. I see it. Yeah.
It looks like a pumping market to me, bro. Come on, guys. It's Donald Trump. Look at that, Donald Trump in the clouds. He's getting delivered here for us. Now, obviously, we know yesterday there was tons of bullish news as well, and then today he came up with another doozy here. What does he say? Yeah, U.S. President-elect Trump to designate cryptocurrency as a national priority. I mean, he just keeps dropping this bull sauce here all the time, leading into the action on Monday. So, look, hopefully a spicy weekend for us. Now, Bitcoin Magazine reporting whistleblowers claim the FDIC is destroying documents related to Bitcoin and crypto, and Senator Cynthia Lummis is getting involved. Okay, she's really starting to push some buttons there, and things are getting interesting. She's also written to the U.S. She wrote to the U.S. Marshal Service as well, asking why they plan to sell nearly 70,000 BTC. So if they haven't sold it yet, we know Uncle Trump's coming into power on Monday, and then maybe they're going to slow things down because we know what his new policy is going to be about. So maybe they're going to put a break on that, and that is naturally bullish news for us. And then another good sign always is when the Coinbase app ranking starts pushing higher in the charts, and that we know market is turning green. People are downloading Coinbase app again, and things are looking interesting. So out of all apps as of the 17th of Jan, that was this morning 8 a.m. 31st. Okay, so it's climbing up, and in terms of finance apps, it's number 3. So not a bad result so far from retail's perspective. Remember, these are retail guys we want coming in here and buying the crypto, okay? And 𝗬𝗓𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, I showed you this guy yesterday, but they have kind of shifted now, and there's comments saying 3 or 4 rate cuts possible this year. Now, this is what I absolutely love. This gapping up S&P, this was unreal for me, because we've been saying over the last couple of days, wouldn't it be funny if the shit coins actually told us exactly what was going to be happening in the market? And really, the shit coins actually ran the entire world's market for me. Okay, there's no other argument. Look at this. We got TOTAL3 breaking trend, okay, front running, breaking head and shoulders, breaking trends, pushing hard, leading the charge. Okay, the shit coins told us the S&P was going to be pumping. Then we had Bitcoin coming out. When was this? Yesterday or earlier today, blowing that right side, and then finally we had the S&P finally coming to the party today. So the signs were obviously there on everything. We had that bullish divergence printing on a lot of these tokens and a lot of these altcoins. Obviously on the daily we had tons of this bullish divergence. So S&P now looking super bullish. I'm still holding that S&P long on PrimeXBT for now. I'm not going to close this thing until it loses the 50-day MA. So we'll let it carry on playing. 5,960. That is going to be the support you want to watch now for the S&P. And then just to look at BTC from this perspective, and I did show you on the lower time frame why this was an interesting zone for potential shorts, and you can see that is a beautiful wick there on the daily. Wouldn't it be nice if they just come and fill that wick there, take something out, and then send it lower for maybe some bullish entries? We don't have to turn into bears again, but what we would like to see is a short opportunity, because we love shorting and we love longing and we love fucking trading. So give us a trade in that section. That is what I'm going to be hunting. And then right now for me on PrimeXBT, Bitcoin out. I closed my ETH long. I'm going to show you why I closed my ETH long. Now I'm probably going to regret it, okay, because it's closed. But I did jump into a little scalp soul short when I saw that momentum a couple of minutes ago. So we saw this momentum here on the 15 minutes little trend break. So I just jumped into that. So what I'm going to do here is just raise my stop. I want to de-risk on Solana. So I'm just going to put my stop now for Sol at 218. Okay, so right now a little scalpy play here. The Sol is at resistance, so if it does pop, there is a shorter time frame target a little bit to the upside that I'm going to show you guys now. And City Girl with an S says Pepe and icon Q. We've got Pepe locked and loaded for you as well. Okay, let's go. Now, this is important. The life of a trader. Okay, look at this guy. He's buying the bull market there on the left. Okay, buy. It starts falling over. He gets a final little pump there. He sells everything, and then it rips again. Okay, and then he buy. Now, life doesn't have to be like this. Okay, there's 2 ways I can help you cure this problem. Okay, number 1, do the course, the accelerator trading course. My masterclass is live again at the end of this month. We had a banger last year and we are live again. So the end of this month, you can sign up now for my accelerator school. It's a 10-day accelerator program. If you know a little bit about trading view, you know a little bit about charting, do this course, guys. It's going to accelerate you. You're going to see all the shit that I do. You're going to figure out how to do it. Okay, so that is one of the ways we can save you guys from that problem. Then the next way is obviously to join Chart Hackers. Now, you know the team is here, and we're going to talk about that a little bit further. But if you're doing the course, you'll get an opportunity to join Chart Hackers in the course, or you can obviously join Chart Hackers separately. But what I want you guys to do is do the accelerator course. There's 9 days to go, and I am going to be doing my masterclass. I'm going to teach you some tricks you didn't thought were possible, tricks that you didn't think existed. Okay, I'm going to show you some hacks. So make sure you go into the show description here, go to more, go underneath. There's everything you're going to see. You can see the Accelerator School is right at the top here for you. So just click on that link, register for it, start getting stuck in, and you're going to see me on the live workshops coming in hot at the end of the month. Now, it is altcoin time. Let's get into what are the important things. Number one, we've seen TOTAL3, so loving this now. So now we can say TOTAL3 has flipped a little bit more bullish. Why is this important to us? Well, for a very long time, we had the head and shoulders looking a little bit bearish. Now we've blown through the right shoulder. We've blown through the highs. Now we can say, cool. Any pullbacks now, potentially very bullish. So, for example, pump into Trump. Nice little pullback. We know he remains president. Lots of bullish policies. Buy. Okay, so that is kind of the game plan we're looking at here if this happens. Okay, so that is what we're going to look for. TOTAL3 looking good for me. Broken through the 50-day MA. So I like what I'm seeing there. Then dominance is still undecided. Now, dominance is still in this very bullish setup. It's the inverse head and shoulders. And like we've explained before, it's not the worst if Bitcoin is pumping. So what we need to do is if we get dominance pushing higher here in this bullish setup, we want to make sure that, when Bitcoin does slow down or does reject, that we get this dominance rejection here that is going to help these altcoins. So ideally, what you want to see, if that is going to play out for us, is a soft rejection for BTC and then some kind of consolidation like that in some of these zones, and that should give the alts tons of room to start ripping, tons of room to start breathing, and that will help the dominance start drifting down and giving us what we want to see. Okay, so dominance is still a little bit suspicious for me, and ETH is the most suspicious. Johnny says ETH is literally the definition of a toxic ex you break up with. We've all had one of those. Every time you go back to her, you think this time is going to be different, just to get let down time and time again. Okay, I've done that before. I think we've all done that. And then what else have we got here? We got Ali charts, okay, telling us if you examine the formation of the left shoulder, ETH consolidated around 2.8 for 37 days in mid-April. Okay, this is important stuff that he's talking about. He's now suggesting, okay, and this is not very bullish for us. I mean, look, maybe it will just be ETH flat and everything else rips, but he's talking about a 30-day consolidation on the right-hand shoulder on ETH. So interesting that he's saying that. And let's take a look at the chart. And if we look at what he's saying, there's a couple of things that make sense. So firstly, we are in this descending trend. You can see we are in this wedge. So naturally, if we ignore oscillators, okay, so if we ignore the oscillator, we would look at this rationally and say, okay, well, that is a reasonable move for us to do something like that before we start popping out. So let's not take that off the table. The man does have a point. But what is trading against him right now? And look, it remains to be seen if we come back at a later date. But what is looking good here is the super bullish, double bullish divergence print. I've got my magic blue dot as well. This thing's an absolute savage, this chart prime blue dot here. And that has been printed as well. So all we need to see now for ETH to get a little bit more bullish and a little bit more aggressive is going to be that pop of this existing VWAP and the 50-day MA. Then we're going to start looking for the highs again on ETH. So until that, you can see I've closed my ETH long. This is why I've closed it, just in case. Okay, just in case. We're going to take profits along the way, guys. Remember the rules. Okay, when the market's pumping, we take some profits along the way. And this is important stuff. So green market, let's say you've got 5 positions open. Market is ripping. You're feeling great. You're showing your wife. You're showing your girlfriend, or both of them. You're showing them all of your P&L. So what you need to do when it's green like this, pick a couple that you take profits on, you close completely, you bank that stuff, you stick it in your spot account or whatever you want to do. And then the other one, leave open as a moon bag. Okay, let's start adding to that one. In case the market rips higher, you start adding to that position, you grow some size, but you add strategically to that. And if you want to know more about that, obviously, I talk about it in Hackers a lot, and it is in my accelerator school. Stefan, what's going on, bro? What's going on? He wants the dominant like up here. Okay, who's in the chats? What is going on? And somebody's talking about Fart Boy. I think it's a bit small to talk about Fart Boy. Let's see what else we got. We got Zevi talking PopCat to 100. Wow, that would be pleasing. I mean, I think we'll make a gazillion. If PopCat goes to 100 here, guys. 𝗬𝗓𝗘, nice to see you back. I haven't seen you in a while. You are back in the house. And let's see what else we got. What else we got? Wood AI. Is that a question or is that the name of a token? Bison 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 virtual protocol. I've added to my virtual trade from yesterday. And we got, I hope you guys took the entry and we'll see if it's going to carry on. But AIXBT, I gave you that on the show yesterday. It hit the entry about 1 hour ago. It hit our zone. So I did take the long there. I started a small position and Usher says, get the wreck t-shirt ready. Come on, guys. And remember, always after the show, when the show is done, just drop the tokens you want to see on Monday, for example, and I'll get them ready for you guys. Obviously, I can't do all of them, but drop the tokens you want after the show. That means I can actually see them, and then I know what you want. If you're dropping the tokens in the live, it's obviously a little bit trickier for me, so I'll try and do them while we're going live. But remember, anything you want to see on Monday, just drop it after the show for me. Okay, guys, let's get into the lower time frame ETH trade. Then we're going to talk Sol. And yes, correct, Ferdy, this Brett, bro, it's breaking trend. I've got it for you. We are ready to go. Okay, let's go. We go lower time frame ETH. I want to just show you why I closed the trade. A couple of things in play for us. Now, this is ETH on the 1 hour. Let's do this one quickly. I know some of you were trading ETH with me. So this is the logic behind it. You can see the 1 hour, we are turning over on the oscillator. Again, doesn't mean it's turning super bearish, but you can see it is turning over. And there is a possibility that we do print divergence here. So it would look something like that. And that could mean the price does pop higher before we get that rollover. I just wanted to bank that because I was in a hedge BTC short, and that hedge BTC short obviously ripped and ETH hardly moved, like that toxic X that you get. And I just thought, let me balance it out. So I closed the ETH long, and I shut down that Bitcoin hedge short. So they were basically flat there, and I didn't want to cause any more damage if the market fell over. So that is what I'm looking at here. So ETH 3,450. You can see this is your danger zone, 3,450, and then upside 3,560 is going to be your next danger zone that you're watching there for ETH. Now, once we break through that takes us to that super bullish zone that we're looking at, and that is going to open the 4,000 level. But until that happens, I just want to say, guys, you know what to do here. Danger zones, possible short zones, possible take profit zones. Just exercise caution wherever you see these hot zones here. That's the 50-day MA, 786 horizontal. 3,560 to 3,570 is going to be a reaction area that you need to pay attention to. Okay, so enough ETH for me. We know daily is bullish. Okay, we agree. Daily looks bullish. Short time frame, maybe a little reversal there. But look, ETH is not a big banger. And right now, it's all about Sol. Okay, and this is a little double top on the 15 minutes on Sol. Okay, so just be careful, yeah. But you can see Sol has woken up. Now, there's a little bit of news on Sol that I'm going to share with you guys now. It's got something to do with emissions, and maybe James knows a little bit about it. So he can. Well, James, just tell us quickly before we get into the setups that I'm in. Yeah, what's the story with the emissions?
Well, it's as part of their staking program. And they're trying to reduce the inflation on Solana networks. So the more you stake, the lower the inflation is, and they're actually increasing the staking rewards to try and get people to stake more of the tokens. So this will bring down the inflation, bullish for Sol, bullish for memes, good news.
Jeez.
My meme bags are happy.
Okay. So there might have been a change of the game in the last while with that news. Okay, so and you've seen this reaction in Sol. Look at this trade; it's actually started to rip now. It's 81,000 plus 23, so it's $104,000 in size now. This thing's really starting to take off here. So that is looking good. Here's AIXBT. That's the setup I gave you yesterday. We hit the zone, so I've taken the trade. Remember, these AI agents, small position, big move. We can always add on later when we get momentum. We don't want to wreck ourselves when we're grabbing our entry. You don't want to get rinsed on an AI agent or a meme coin on too high leverage or too big a size too early. So small position, big move is what I like, because if we're wrong and it drops lower and you get rinsed, well, you don't get rinsed that badly. So AIXBT is cooking. Brett, I've added a little bit to that Brett long. Okay, so if this thing starts popping, it's going to be fun. The short, I'm not too phased about that short. It must do what it must do. And then Aero, that's cooking. I've got Jito. I did drop in chart hackers earlier that I was buying some 𝗬𝗳 based on the Solana strength. Remember, Sol strength, you want to look at things like Radium. You want to look at things like 𝗬𝗳. You want to look at all the meme coins as well on the Sol ecosystem. It's just a natural thing you need to do. So I did tell the hackers guys earlier about 𝗬𝗳. Let's see, Rune. We did Rune today on a Zoom session as well. I did my Chart Hackers Friday Zoom. We tee up the weekend. There's Rune starting to cook. 𝗬𝗥 starting to cook. 𝗫𝗫, guys, that's the banger. I've added more to 𝗫𝗫. It's now $50,000. I'm going to show you that chart. I'm going to show you why I'm bullish on this thing. XRP is now it's slowed down since yesterday. 𝗬𝗨 waking up. Okay, 4.5K now. That thing is cooking. Curve doing nothing. The guys were in the chats this morning trading Rune in the traders chat and hackers and trading Curve. I mean, the absolute savages in there. But anyway, such bangers. And they actually got that Rune tip from the chats in Chart Hackers. The community there are sharing their tokens. And there's AI16Z that Dave messaged me and he was like, bro, go long AI16Z. So I did, okay? Because this man, if he tells me to take a trade, I don't look at the chart. I just push buttons. Okay, it's just like that. Okay, let's go. Let's talk the news. So here's the news that James has spoke about. Sol inflation reduction. That sounds bullish. Okay, you want to find out more? 𝗙𝗓𝗟𝗡𝗢 has written a little thread on this on Twitter. And let's take a look at the Sol chart. Let's be as objective and honest with ourselves as possible here. Okay, first things first, 8 hour, hot. Okay, very hot here, and showing its first bearish divergence print. Look at this. Okay, it could be a problem. Okay, so just be aware that Sol is pushing into resistance, showing bearish divergence. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin keeps ripping, you should see things like Sol just start moving up anyway as they go. The problem comes if there's a hard rejection on Bitcoin later. So what you want to do, again, if the market keeps pumping, where is Bitcoin? I mean, where is Sol when Bitcoin is at 107, 108? Is Sol sitting at resistance? Just be careful when that happens. Tie in your alts at resistance with Bitcoin at major resistance. That is going to serve you well if you can start tracking them together and understand what is happening in the context of the market. Okay, so Sol at the moment, you can see we are at resistance. This is 220. For me, that is resistance. If we have to start looking at further zones, your 618 at 228. So this could actually be an interesting one. If we get another pop on BTC, you can see that could be your first rejection zone there. So if we don't start falling back here, that 228 looks like trouble for me. There's a wick here as well that needs to be dealt with. It wasn't touched previously, so they might want to come back here. And then I really like 244. That is an interesting zone there for me as well. 244 for Sol. So watch out. Those are your levels. That is what you're watching to the upside. But nice to see Sol strength again. Let's see what's going on the daily, just to confirm where we are from a daily perspective. And you can see daily looks nice. Okay, bullish divergence print here on the daily. This thing wants to grind a little bit higher. So remember, we are now expecting, with that daily looking so bullish, we are expecting bullish pullbacks until this daily gets completely topped out at the highs and starts printing divergence and falling over. So right now, that's essentially what we are looking at now on Sol. So let's start with the first meme. Okay, it's time to bring back Popcat. And look, if you guys didn't get it, James, we did this on Monday, right? Popcat on Monday on the show. I dropped a signal in Chart Hackers on Monday. Then Dave did a Zoom, okay, a Zoom where he said Popcat is getting ready to pop. The Chart Hackers got all these entries on these meme coins. They got piled up earlier this week. And yeah, you can follow us on Chart Hackers, the Chart Hackers at the Chart Hackers. And here's Dave calling this Popcat move on the private Zoom that he does for the members. And if you're following Chart Hackers, don't forget they're dropping alpha as well. You're going to get a couple of entries and things like that off the Chart Hackers Twitter page. So there is alpha there. If you want to see what Chart Hackers is about and you're not ready to join it, well, take a look. You follow it, you'll get some alpha there as well. So let's go Popcat. And this is looking good now. Just to confirm, we do have bullish divergence on the daily. Absolute banger. And now this thing is finally waking up. I missed my liquidation on Sol by, I think it was 0.015 cents or something ridiculous. I just hung on in there. You guys will know. I've been building this Popcat trade. Where were we? From here, we were just building all the way down. And yeah, definitely put us under pressure. But nice to see Popcat finally waking up for us. And the daily is now broken trend. Now you guys can see what I'm talking about here. A trend break tells us that it's time for a direction change. Okay, so we're breaking this trend. That's telling us maybe we are going to our next big zone. So what I want to show you guys right now, Popcat's bounced beautifully from the original call on Monday and Tuesday, and Dave's call as well, whenever it was. When was it? Wednesday.
That was on Tuesday.
Okay, you guys got Popcatted out. Okay, now what are we looking at here? Resistance band for Popcat, but there is another trade coming for you guys. So if you didn't get the first entry, there's another 31% trade coming for Popcat. Now, what I like to see when the market is bullish, I like to look at it pop into these resistance bands. Then we dial in on a lower time frame. We look for breakouts, and then we take those trades. We take those scalp trades and try and ride it to the next major resistance band. So there is a 31% move potentially coming now on Popcat. So if you're sitting in spot, well, you just chilled, okay? You relax. You can see the daily looks good, and you can see your daily candles all the way down at 58. So you got major support lower down for you. But what do you do now? Okay, you're a degen. You're looking for some action. You want to trade this thing. How do you go about it? So there's a couple of things that you need to be careful about. Number one is we've got trouble up here. Look at that. We've got major trouble here. This is major resistance for us. But what does this tell me? It tells me at some point we are going to break back through, okay, whenever that is. And we're going to start looking for support in that type of region for that next trade. So this is now your job. This is what you got to do on the lower time frame. So degen traders, okay, spot traders, you good. Okay, you know what to do. You got your major support down here at 61, give or take. Degens, you now want to track some kind of flag on the lower time frame because you want to try and catch an entry into that next zone. So you're going to take your fibs from the lows to the highs here, and then you're going to start mapping out some bullish areas. I'm going to add my super bullish 236 as well. Okay, and you are essentially going to be looking for something like this. So this is the ideal situation for you guys. This is probably the safest play for you guys if this starts playing out. You're looking for a rejection here. And then during the course of today or this weekend, you want to try and pick something up in that type of region. So 0.684 ideally. Alternatively, you can see we've got clusters here. We do have some action here for you. 0.65 is going to be your next sort of zone that you're looking for. So these are ideally your bull zones where you really want to see that kind of bounce. Let's see where our VWAP is as well. That's going to give us some backup to the downside. It's very low down. Okay, so if we're going down there, there's going to be a whole lot of pain here. We're going to see a big Bitcoin rejection if it sends down there. So that is not what you want to see. So your ticket for the next trade, for the 30% trade here, is going to be some kind of bullish move off 684 down to 652. That is your first prize, what you want to see. Now, if you start building a position, you can grab it on these types of zones with your bullish bias. Once it starts running and it starts breaking this trend, you can add to this position. Once it breaks back through the horizontal, you can add to the position. Start growing the size so that you are nicely teed up for that move into that 50-day and that 200-day MA. So that is your super bullish result here, and that's going to mean our oscillator is going to need to behave itself, which is fine. It is possible that this thing dips lower. It does come and print divergence, but while that divergence is happening, you've seen it on XRP, you've seen it on other tokens, this thing can churn higher. This thing can grind before it ultimately falls over. So something for you guys to think about. Remember, all these charts get jumped into Chart Hackers directly after the show, so you will have them for reference for yourself later, and you can check on them on the weekend for levels and things like that. Alternatively, just re-watch the show, which is what I do sometimes. If I'm too lazy to go open the Mac, I just watch the show again and check my levels if I'm trading from the couch. Okay, let's talk a couple of setups now. Bonk was this morning in the Zoom session. We took that live on the Chart Hacker Zoom. So Bonk is, it was a scalp play. Okay, now it's starting to get a little bit of traction. Virtual, I've added to virtual. I'm going to show you that chart now. It's in our zone, or it's approaching our zone. Then the whiff trade from Monday, that thing is really starting to print. I mean, I've taken out all my margin, and oh no, sorry, I had to add today. Sorry, I've added this margin. We got to take out our margin. So what we can do here on whiff, we can just click on it there, and we can take out, we can raise our leverage. Okay, we can raise our leverage there. And now we can take out our margin there. We're going to reduce it there. It's going to let us reduce it by $470. So we're taking out all our margin. Okay, bang. So now we've got only $200 in that WIF trade, and it's $14,000 in size. So that trade now is essentially free. Okay, so that is that for WEX, WIF, Bonk, and then I'm still sitting in this Ondo, and it's actually moving. Okay, guys, that Ondo unlock. When was the unlock? It was today. James, do you remember?
No, I think it's the 19th, so 2 days.
19th. Okay, 2 days. Guys, there's a massive Ondo unlock coming in 2 days. If you're pumping into that unlock, I would suggest taking profit. It's probably a good idea.
It's actually in 6 hours.
Oh, it is today.
𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 unlocked in 6 hours.
Because
So.
Ondo's pumping.
Okay.
On the
6
unlock.
hours, guys. Okay, so remember, it's 110% of the total supply. There are arguments that it's not all going to be obviously dumped. They're going to stake it and do things because Ondo is launching a new product where you can start trading, I think it's synthetic stocks, essentially. You can buy Tesla and you can buy other stocks using their platform. So it's pretty bullish. I mean, this Ondo thing is the real deal. Okay, so that's the deal. Okay, so I'm going to take profits here later today. If this keeps on pumping, I'm going to close that Ondo position. Now, let's go Bonk. And finally, Bonk has come alive again. What a thing of beauty for us here. We've got our trend break on the daily, looking amazing now for us. This thing is really starting to push well. So we've got a problem here at the 100-day moving average, but I'd say from a daily perspective, super bullish now. Look at that divergence. We've got that blue dot. We've got that nice push now on the daily. Things are looking great for us. And if we do get a pullback from the daily perspective, well, essentially, you just want to hold the 29 zone, or maybe a little bit lower, you want to hold that 28 zone. So 29 or 28 for spot traders. You can see we've got some targets to the upside here. First one's going to be 34. Next one's going to be 38. Next one's going to be 47. Now, that would be the extreme, but that really looks like a nice zone. I mean, that is going to be a very nice short at some point, I would expect, at that 47, 48 region. Okay, so those are your daily time frame targets. You can see daily looking bullish, daily looking nice. Now, that doesn't help the degens. Let's help the degens, okay? This is the current play. So we grabbed the scalper earlier today, and what you want to do in these types of situations, now, we already know the context. We've broken the daily trend, so we understand that we could be looking quite bullish here. Now, that with that context in mind, here's our trend. You can see our daily trend to the downside. You can see our oscillator a little bit hot. So that tells us, like, we can be bullish, but we can also be patient. Okay, we've missed the first pump potentially if you don't have the entry. If you're buying now, you're buying at a very hot 1 hour. You're buying on the initial trend break. You're buying at a resistance band, which is currently the 100-day moving average. So there's a chance, not saying it will, but there's a chance that this is where you get some kind of pullback on Bonk, and it could be a bullish pullback considering the daily situation. So then you're going to start looking at some potential scalper zones that you can play with, and we're going to just put together a little setup here for the degens, and we're going to try and cater for you guys here if we do get a little dip today, and we want to get you some kind of entry. So for me, the most reasonable zone is always going to be a 382. And I just want to show you something interesting. So the small fib pool ties in with that major fib pool 236. So what you've got here is 31 to 307 is going to be your first sort of block of interest. Now, it's not the most amazing situation, but yeah, you're going to be relying on some kind of market sentiment and some kind of pump this weekend for that region to start holding for us. So that box for me is call it 31 down to about 305, 31 to 305. That is going to be your degen area where you're going to look for things. You can also see I've got this VWAP starting to push higher as well. So we just want that VWAP to climb a little bit higher. That's going to give us some confluence there. So reasonable zone for me on a dip. So if you get that dip, nothing to be fearful. You can see this thing just needs to come down and reset. And we understand the daily is bullish. But if you get that dip, the most reasonable zone I can give you is 31 to 305. You want to get that VWAP tied in for you as well. So look for something like that if it happens. Now, obviously, I'd love to say, just grab this thing and it's going to rip to the moon. It's very dangerous to play those types of games. So you need to understand your risk. If you're buying this now, and you're sitting in a leverage position, what if the market falls over? Ask yourself that question. If the market falls over, where's my bounce zone? How far away is it? And for me, that's 5%. Okay, that's 5% down on Bonk, and that is going to be your risk to your next bounce zone. So if the market falls over, you're going to feel a burn of at least 5% where it might bounce. Okay, so understand your risk there for yourselves if you're playing that. But then if you zoom out again and you look at the daily, that chart that I've just drawn up here is going to be a simple little trend retest, okay, on some daily levels at those zones. And then you're going to look for that bounce to the upside. So just always get your context of where you are. And that for me would be a nice little trend retest. I've got VWAP, I've got trend, I've got a bullish fib, I've got a 382. So we like that zone. Okay, so we're going to drop that one for you in Chart Hackers in a couple of minutes. So that is bonk, guys. Your risk is 5%. You're jumping in now. If you are patient and you're prepared to wait, you might get that entry to the downside. Okay, let's go with. We also covered this one on Monday. And Random QS. Random Qs, is he asking questions or is he a quantity surveyor? I'm dying to know. But he says, got some great traders in the Hackers group. Guys, we've added some traders into the chats. And things are hot in there at the moment. Okay, the guys are cooking, and to their credit, they're going out of their way for the community in there. And we dropped here who's been loading up on WIF. This was on Monday. So, guys, again, let me know in the chats. I hope you guys hung on to that WIF and that Popcat that I gave you guys on Monday. And just to update where we are, look at this again. We've got WIF bullish divergence on the daily. Okay, now this thing is starting to get a little bit of momentum for us, but funnily slowing down a little bit relative to Bonk and relative to Popcat. So a little bit slower, but I do expect a further squeeze on WIF the minute we get some kind of move on Sol. So WIF has given us that first move. So that first trade is actually complete. We've got that 30% move already now on WIF. And now it's basically comes down to greed. Okay, it's literally greed time now. And can we try and catch this thing to the next zone? Can we take this guy to the next 18%? Is that going to be our next trade? So we've got our targets here to the upside. We are at TP 1.88. We know that. Our next target zone is going to be 2.22. How do we get there? Okay, here we are. And this is WIF now on the 2 hour that I've teed up for you guys. And you can see I've tried to simplify it as much as possible. We've got our trend. Okay, we've got look, we started the trend up here. So 3 touches. Okay, we've got a trend break imminent. It's not breaking just yet. Then we got to look at where we get our support to the downside, and we've got to identify the big zones. So for me, the big zones are these guys over here. That is what we're going to be watching. This 1.76 is going to be the big one that I'm going to pay attention to. So with your safest degen zone, 1.76. So if there is some kind of meltdown now in the market, that's going to tie in for me on this key support level, where if we zoom out, you can see that is our daily support at these levels. Can you see that there? That's lots of daily support. So as long as we are holding that, that could give us a nice bullish opportunity and a bullish bounce, because that is a daily level, and daily levels tell us we often get a nice reaction off those zones. Today, too many trades we do in Chart Hackers. Is that a good or a bad thing that he's done too many trades? I hope he hasn't done too many trades. Don't overtrade, guys. Don't overtrade. And Walter says Luby. If you know, you know. I actually don't know. I don't know what Luby is, bro. But yeah, I'm sure it's amazing. What else have we got here? We got rune questions. Fuck, Shakespeare's pipe, bro. I'm doing theater for you today. I promised it to you. I'm doing it for you today. Okay, it's coming. Okay, we got rune. I've also got rune coming hot. So, guys, just to finish with. That first trade is actually complete. We are at TP zone now on that first trade. You don't feel bad if you take profit. Okay, this is actually the TP zone. In fact, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to take profit here, because you got to keep the discipline. Okay, let's close this. $3,000 profit on a $10,000 trade. I mean, that's a nice move. That's 30%. Okay, banked. Handbag. Fuck me. We'll buy a handbag this weekend. Okay, so WIF is now closed at resistance for me. There is another entry. Okay, 1.76. That is what you're going to be doing. That is going to be your support that you're watching for your next long, and your target is going to be the 2.2. And you can see on this lower time frame trade, there we go, 2.2. Okay, so that is your target for that move on WIF. So 1.76. 1.68, those are your extreme lows that you want to go. If we do get a bullish pullback, that for me is your entry zone. That's where you load up, and that's where you send WIF a little bit higher. Now, if there's anybody out there who's learning how to trade, we're going to get into some more tokens now. I've got Peppy, I've got Brett, I've got Rune, I've got Jito. We've got a lot going on for you guys. But if you want to learn how to trade, okay, one of the ways you can do it is using Bitfunded. Now, this is actually trading with other people's money. So how it works is you're going to send them deposit, and they're going to give you a challenge account. Now you're going to make 8% in challenge account 1, then you got to make 5%, and then you get an actual real money account, and you keep 80 to 90% of the profits. It's a nice way to learn how to trade if you are interested in doing something like that. If you don't want to risk too much of your own capital, and you can see today I've been working on a few accounts, and you can see I've got my first funded account here of the batch that I've been working on for you guys. So it says congratulations on becoming a bit funded trader. This is now a funded account. Now, it's taken 10 days to make this account. So my current strategy is to have a couple of accounts running because they're all taking 10 days. And we want to get a few funded accounts ready to go. So this is my current strategy. You can see my base level 1 as well, stage 2. I've actually passed this now. This is about to go funded today. So I'm going to have 2 funded accounts ready to go. And then I've got another one that I'm working on. I've got 3 others I'm working on. This one is past stage 1. I'm just waiting for the days. Days 4. Here's the next one. Past stage 1, 5 days. So this one's going to be stage 2 as of this weekend. And we're going to try and push that through. And then here's the other one that we got going on. And that is also now past stage 1. So I'm just going to play out the days. Then we go stage 2, and then we keep going. So if this is interesting to you and you want to play with other people's money and make money off them, well, Bitfunded is where you can go. Link is in the description. Go under the show. There it is. Just click on Bitfunded. You'll find it just there towards the bottom, and then sign up for Bitfunded there. Okay, let's talk Pepe. Now, Max is going, he's getting hard for Pepe again. Look at this. I think Pepe Bears are about to get thrown into the deep fryer. Okay, he thinks they're going to get sent. Dave, bro, I'm just talking, bro.
Dude, I like Pepe.
But you hear, and like, you must hang here. Dave's coming up next. After this Pepe chart, Dave's bringing you alpha. Okay. Here's the Coinbase Pepe chart from Max. Giant bullish compression. Okay, I like that phrasing. Within a higher time frame range. If ETH doesn't crap the bed here, then I think we're ready to start moving. Okay, so he's covered himself. He said if ETH falls over, well, then we wrecked. I agree. If it doesn't, well, Pepe. Okay, this is your thing. You've seen bonk breaking trend, Popcat breaking trend, Whiff breaking trends. It's all going down. Pepe is breaking trends now. This is the 12-hour. Look at this 12-hour. Still got room to breathe. Still got room to go. You can see that divergence. Actually didn't give me the print, but you can see the divergence is there. Looking good on Pepe. Now, the action is up here. Look at this. We've got our 50-day MA, 202. So we know this is resistance. So what do we understand at the moment with the market? We know lots of things are sitting at major resistance. Whiff, for example, Bonk is at resistance. I think ETH is at resistance. All of these tokens are at resistance, and they're tying in together very nicely. So what you can do here for Pepe, you know this thing pumps. You know retail loves this thing. Here's a couple of targets. If you're sitting in Pepe at the moment, what you're looking at here is 13% and 36% potential targets. What do you want to do as a support base for yourself? Well, it depends again on your leverage and how you're trading things. But for me, if you're looking at this 12-hour chart, I can give you some decent support here. And it's quite nice on this 236. Look at this daily level, 236. And the daily. So for me, your most bullish support for Pepe now is 192. That has got to be your super bullish support, 192. So it's multiple zeros, 192. So if you get a sharp dip today or this weekend, 192 is most likely where you're going to get your first reaction. Now, it obviously can bleed a little bit deeper. So you want cover, 185. But if you have to start building a position or you're looking for a degen play, a tap into 192 looks like something for me before the next move. If it is going to have continuation, that's hopefully, I would assume, where we're going to get that bounce. 192 to 185. Those are going to be your areas that you're going to be watching. Now, obviously, it can pop the 50-day MA, and that's a slightly different ball game. So what I'm going to do is just show you quickly on the 15 minutes what you can look for. So you can see that 50-day MA is in front of you. That is obviously major resistance. So this is the ultimate degen play. Now, I mean, I don't want to encourage you guys to do this too much because it's actually madness, but this is the ultimate degen play. There's your 50-day MA. You can see it's acting as resistance. So something is going down here in these lower timeframes at the moment. And if you want to be an absolute savage, well, what you can do is try and catch something along these lines. You can see we're fighting the current VWAP on the 15 minutes there. Okay, and we're fighting these lows there. Okay, that's your 195 zone. So what you can do is start sniffing around here. Okay, look out here. maybe you get a dip into the 382. So we're going to pull that 382. This is proper degen stuff. Are we already on our 382? Yeah. Okay. That's why this is like max, guys. Okay. So 200. That's where we are now. You can see a 15-minute break of horizontal and retest. Okay. This is extreme stuff. Break of horizontal, retest 200. Okay. Then lower down, you've got 198, and then your base level that I gave you for that weekend dip, 195. Look at the nice tie in here as well, in that type of region as well. Okay. So look at that area there. There is a bit of action, but if you want to be an absolute savage, at your own risk. Okay. I'm not doing that. Okay. But I'm just putting it there. Okay. Let's go, Dave. Let's give Dave, and then we're going to talk Brett and everything else. Hit me with something.
Yeah. All right. Can you see my screen?
Now we can.
Cool.
Ooh, what is this?
So yeah, no, this is just Bitcoin, but yeah, no, just as a recap, guys, I hope you guys got some Toshi. Like I said, just real quick, I'm looking for a short at the 1618, and then grass for those of you guys that took grass. Yeah, it's awesome to be 2 for 2 there. So let's see if we can do another 2 for 2. So here's the one that Dylan was mentioning. I said go long on this guy. So I woke up this morning, and obviously when things are very green, it's like, okay, which ones haven't really ran yet? And then I actually called this. So I ran like a first backstage session with the hackers organization 2 days ago. So from midnight to 2 a.m., I just charted in silence, and this was one that I told everybody, I think this is coming down. We rejected it perfectly, and so everybody should have taken or at least fully closed their position. But now we're at a 618. We have an anchored VWAP. And so I had entered this trade here around 117 and a little bit of profits. It's kind of ran away just a little bit, but I would say low leverage, it's still okay here. The other thing that I'm kind of anticipating is that, obviously Bitcoin's at a resistance. And if we do have any kind of pullback, we do have this 786 here and this 50-day MA, right? So this kind of region here, if you will, I would say is a good entry. And I'm simply looking to take this guy all the way back to the top. Potential 63% move. This is a macro 618 or hacker zone, essentially taking a fib from the absolute high here from the 2nd of January, and then running it all the way down to the low that we experienced on Monday's brutal sell-off. You can see that this also ties in with a trend. So that would be kind of like an ultimate target, but again, we're going into the weekend. I do think we're going to have a weekend pump, which I've been calling for a little bit of time here. And so if you take a fib from this high where we have rejected on Wednesday to the current low, assuming that this is the low anchor VWAP support, you can see that the 618 and 786 ties back into this resistance zone, right? So we could simply do this move and top out here. So that would be kind of like TP1. Or we can kind of chug along here, create some kind of momentum line, and look for the second move towards the $1.91 region. Okay. So again, we took this trade a little bit lower here. So I would say low leverage, just kind of ladder in, use proper risk management. The other one that I have here is a short. So obviously everything's green. What are some good shorts? So I actually had an alert that I had set that went off. And so the one I want to talk about here today is Super. So we were tracking Super. It seems like every Sunday session we're talking about Super, but we have this momentum line that's drawn from the 4th of August lows, and we have, second touch, third touch, and then we lost it, right? And every time you lose a macro trend, there's always some kind of back test. And so essentially we have hit that back test now. So what's interesting is that we have this horizontal. Okay, and this horizontal is drawn, basically $1.34 to the $1.41 region. You can see that we struggled here before. It was a rejection zone. As soon as we flipped it as support, it was amazing support. Obviously, this was like a forceful wick, and then we found support here. But now we are kind of back into the zone, and so what's also great about this setup is that I have an anchored VWAP drop from this high from Wednesday, the 25th of December, and we're banging right into it. So we've got a horizontal, we've got an anchored VWAP. We're literally at the top of the lost backtest trend here. And then you can see on the 2-hour time frame, chart prime is saying, hey, bearish divergence, blue dot. And then also on the 8-hour time frame, we have bearish divergence. So there's something coming here in my opinion, as far as a pullback, right? So what kind of targets are we looking for when it comes to a pullback? Very simple. Take a fib from the low to the high, and typically the 618s are a good area to take profits. We could get a 786, and then there could be a 382 as well, right? If depending on if there's some fundamental bullish news or whatever the case may be. We could also take a anchored VWAP on this low, and that also ties in, right? This makes a lot of sense, right? So we have an anchored VWAP 382. So I think TP1 could be a 10% drop. TP2 could be another 20%, 10% drop, giving it like a 20% drop. And then if we have a pretty crazy sell-off Monday or whatever the case may be, I mean, we could do a round trip into the 786, right? So I think this is a nice little hedge play. And yeah, so let's see if we do 2 for 2 again.
Dude, I must say, I love the look of the super. Even as a hedge play, it's an absolute banger. I'm gonna start building this as a hedge play, guys. Remember the deal with hedges, okay? It doesn't mean you are turning into a bearish beast and you want to send everything to zero. You just want to be covered, okay? Because if there's a bullish pullback, well, that's great, okay? You got a little bit of cover. But what happens if it's more than a bullish pullback and the market actually dips and you really start feeling pain? Well, there's nothing better when the market is falling over than having a couple of green trades for you psychologically. I'm telling you, mentally, it's an absolute game changer for you. And when you get these hot zones like that, don't be scared. You can ladder into these types of things. Don't ape massive size, but just practice a little bit, get a feel for it. And like David is showing you here, he's giving you your next backup zone. So there's obviously a possibility it pops through, but if you're net long, you can have another go a little bit higher up. You can see that absolute bang up there. That must be the 50-day MA. Higher up there as well with the order blocks. So there's 2 zones, and these charts are going to be put in Chart Hackers for you guys. And Dave, let's go 2 for 2.
Yeah,
let's see.
4. Yeah.
4 for 4. 4 for 4.
Yeah,
okay. Well, we've got 2 already. He's nailed 2. This is your next 2. You know what to do, guys. Okay. So Super's pumping. AI16Z is dumping. Maybe there's going to be some kind of play there. Okay. So think about that one, Dave. Thank you. I'm going to jump into a couple more charts. Hang. First one, before I do Brett, I got to do Theta. You guys have been asking me in the chat for the whole week saying, do Theta. I keep saying I'm going to do it. Well, I always forget. Here it is. Okay, so a couple of basics here. This is Theta on the daily. What do we want to know? Well, there's no divergence, but that daily is looking good. Okay, that daily is pushing high. We've broken a trend, typical like we've seen on many other altcoins here. Trend has been broken, so that is interesting. So just like we've seen loads of other alts at the moment, they are sitting at resistance areas. That's your 50-day moving average that you got to watch. That is a resistance band. Let's identify a couple of areas where you can potentially get rejected there. Let's highlight these zones. So target number 1, 2.62. Target number 2, 2.8. And then you most likely come and take out these wicks to the upside at 3.1. So these are your upside targets for Theta. Your first step is going to be to break this 50-day MA, 2.47. You want to start cracking that one. What does that look like? Well, let's dial in quickly and get a little basic setup here for you guys. So you can see this 1 hour. It's probably going to be showing divergence and things there. Look, it's actually popped again. But there's actually a little bit here at the moment. So there is some divergence showing here at the moment on Theta. So just be careful. Remember how these things work. Up the stairs, then it's down the lift or down the escalator. If we do get a little dip on Theta, I want to give you some bullish zones where you can try and buy this thing. Not buy this thing, buy this thing. There we go. Ooh, okay, that's nice. Your 382 at 2.27 tied in with a VWAP. You've got a little bit of action, a little bit lower down that I would pay attention to. There, okay, so I would say my favorite area for Theta, okay, this is now an extreme dip this weekend. I want to see this zone tapped as well, so we might have to push this a little bit lower for a wick into that 0.5. I just want to add the 0.5. Okay, we'll take out that look. Okay, I'm going to leave the 236 in because I want you guys to have some options here. But if you have to look at if I have to tell you where I'm bullish for a buy, it's probably something like that with Theta for me. So 2.27 down to about 2.2. That is my best area for Theta. And then lower time frame stuff, well, look at that. That's your DGen play, 2.36. That's for the DGens. And I just want to highlight your 50-day MA. Look at that. Resistance. Okay, that is big resistance there for you. And what you can do is if there is momentum later, so you can zoom in. let's say the market rips from here, what your plan needs to be is you need a hard push. You need this big push here for the candle up there. Then you're going to highlight this box. You want to make sure that your old resistance is going to be tested as potential support. So you want that hard break on theta through. You want to pop hard now. You want to pop through about 2.5, 2.55, those types of regions. You want that hard break up, and then you're going to be looking for buys at 2.46. So that is your best strategy there on theta. If it does start ripping now, that is what you want to get. So right now for me, lower down is probably where it's at. It might not be the news you want if you want to buy something or start opening trades. But as a safe zone for me, 2.27 to 2.2, degen zone 2.36. That is probably the best I can give you in terms of theta at the moment. Hyman, I did cover Sol right at the beginning. I'm assuming you've just switched on, so you're probably a little bit behind at the moment. So yeah, you'll see Sol as this thing starts ticking over. Guys, I'm going to jump through a couple of these quite quickly. I want you guys to be covered on everything. Brett, you guys know I'm in quite a big Brett position now. Bullish divergence, hasn't broken trend yet. Interesting. We are at resistance. We know that. Okay, so that is resistance for us. What are our Brett targets? When and if we do start breaking trend, your most obvious zone is going to be that 50-day MA over there. That is going to be your danger zone. So I would say look out 149. So if we have a hard push this weekend, you most likely get some kind of short opportunity in that region. 149 to about 152 is probably where you're going to get a potential rejection. You can see we've got wicks there. We've got 50-day MA. You can see it's going to be a messy zone. We most likely have fib tie-in as well, I would guess. Look at that. Okay, we've got a 382 there as well. So if you're looking for a short 1.5 to 153 for Brett, if there's a hard pump, right now sitting at resistance, let's dial in. Okay, here we are, Brett, on the 2 hour, and let's get a little degen play for you guys. So you can see Brett is at resistance, 618, 100-day MA. We got VWAP, we got trend. There's a lot happening here. Just like theta, could have a couple of areas lower down. Bearish divergence, looking to potentially move a little bit lower, but we know daily is bullish. So this could be a short-term bull pullback that you are looking for. And for me, if we have to pick a zone for us, it's got to be 121. Okay, that is our 382 tied in with that VWAP. You can see that VWAP is pushing up. So 121 to about 122 is going to be an entry zone for me on Brett. If you do get a little dip now this weekend, I would say look for something in that type of region. Around about this 121 looks like a bit of fun. So just remember these things. If they do start playing out, you got to give it time, let it go reset a little bit and do what it needs to do. And look for the reaction in these zones. Remember, when it hits these areas, you want to see some kind of reaction on lower time frames. 15 minutes perhaps is what you're going to be watching for those types of moves. Okay, that is Brett. Let's talk Goku. Now, I gave this Goku to you, I don't know, a million times, but we spoke about it again yesterday. And now this Goku AI speaks. Now, this is the AI, I think it's the AI agent for Goku. And look what's going on here. They're giving away $1,000 in Goku tokens if you can solve the riddle. Now, nobody has solved this riddle. So we saw yesterday there was a riddle. Somebody solved it and won $500. Now they're giving away $1,000 if you can solve the riddle. So check this out. Goku AI. It's Goku AI speaks. And there's obviously action going on here. This thing is starting to start moving again. So people are obviously getting into this whole riddle solving situation and they want to win the $1,000 in tokens. And this thing is getting aggressive. So I've been giving this to you on all these trend breaks. Again, here we go again. So go and play the game, check it out, see if you can solve the riddle, and you can win $1,000 of Goku. Okay, let's go virtual. This is what we've been waiting for. So that virtual trade is still not in my zone. I have added a little bit to it. My zone is 3.167 is what I've been waiting very patiently for. We are nearly there. I would like to see that bounce. Okay, so there is obviously the possibility that it fails, but what we do know is this is a big horizontal for us. So we are nearly in our zone, 3.167. So if you've been patient, waiting, you've saved yourself money all the way. Just from watching the show and being patient, you've now saved yourself money. And now we are moving into our potential area of interest where we can get some kind of long. So 3.167 is my preferred zone. Then a little bit lower down, look at around about 2.95, give or take. And you can see I'm tracking this 2 hour oscillate at the bottom. We want to see this thing reset and then start pushing higher, and that should then tie itself in with a nice bullish move. So 3.167, that's my preferred area. Then let's talk AIXBT. Now, this is the zone I gave you guys yesterday, and there's a couple of areas. Now, remember what I explained earlier. These things can rinse you hard, okay, on the way down. If your position is too big or your leverage is too high, you can get absolutely smashed on these things. So be super careful. What I can suggest is maybe a low leverage situation on these guys, and you can start building it on key levels. Now, I've taken my first long because this was my area, 0.735. That was my zone where I wanted to buy this thing. So now we are in the zone, and I've opened my first position on this thing. So looking for it to bounce, we can see our 2 hour is almost at reversal stages, but we might have a situation where we get some kind of move like that first, and that could potentially take us another 10% down to the 66 zone. So I don't want you to write the zone off as a possibility. So your areas are 735 and 664. Those are the ones for me on AIXBT. So well done if you waited patiently yesterday. You finally did get your entry on that. Then I promised you guys Rune. Let's cover this. This is Rune on the daily. Again, nice and bullish now. Look at that reversal on Rune, looking much better. We know fundamentally there are problems, and but I saw Uncle Run. He's still bullish on this. He's still bullish on the founder, and they think they can solve some kind of problem there. I'm assuming the Rune guys. So there was some FUD on this thing, but nice squeeze recovery. Remember, a lot of this pump is resulting in all the shorts that were, or the late shorters that were coming in when there was all that FUD on Rune. But what you need to know as a Rune trader now, you want the bulls to step in 3.78 to 3.80. That is pretty much where you want the bulls to come back. And you can see this on the 2 hour chart. You can see what we want to see. This is your major daily level. This is your major support zone. That guy, that region over there. So all you want now is a simple retest of that area, maybe even a wick just below, just something like that. And that should keep you nice and bullish. So 3.8 to 3.7 is ideally where you want to be for Rune. You can see it, look, it might go a bit more, but you can see double topping here, a little bit of divergence prints as well. But for me, Rune, it's that 3.8. Maybe a bit lower, but 3.8 for me, that type of zone, 3.8, 3.7 is where it's at. And then bigger picture, you can see why. And that retest should give you your move, 15% move to 4.38, or even just that lower band there at 4.22. Those are your potential targets. So 4.22 and 4.38 is where it's at for me on Rune. This chart will go straight into hackers. And then, guys, I want to just bring this to your attention. If there is soul strength, don't forget Popcat, Whiff, Bonk. We know all that stuff, the memes, whatever. Don't forget about Radium. Don't forget about Jito. Don't forget about the other Solana ecosystem plays. And you can see Jito on the 8 hour trend break. Okay, that is a good start, but no surprises here. Typical, like many other altcoins. Look at that. Rejection at a resistance band currently. So just pay attention to that. They all look the same now. You want to get those breakouts, or you're looking for those little bullish pullbacks on the 382s, on the 236s. If the market's going to stay bullish this weekend, that is ultimately what you're going to be looking for. So Jito, your main support 2.64. Jito, your target is 3.26, 3.8. Those are your targets for me, or the ones I like on Jito. Okay, we're going to drop that for you guys. Dave, you're sitting there so patiently, so quietly. What a lovely man. Okay, have a banging weekend, guys. Sunday night, Dave and I do a session. We wrap up the weekend and we tee up the week ahead. I can tell you it's going to be proper exciting leading into next week. I think we're going to have a banger either way, whether it's pumping or dumping. It's going to be an amazing week next week, regardless.
Oh, yeah. We've been nailing it for the past 2 weeks. Like the market, like the bearish Monday, bullish week. Like, man, we're on fire right now. I'll tell you guys that.
It's good. Okay, have a good weekend. I'll see you on Sunday evening. Well, it's evening for me. It's morning for you. James, thank you, Captain.
One last thing for everybody. Keep in mind, next Thursday, the Bank of Japan has their rate cut decision. Be very cautious on Thursday. If they raise rates, we could be in some trouble. So just not to be bearish on this super bullish potential week, but look, gotta keep that in mind. Be careful.
Bullish week, lots happening this week. If we pump hard this weekend, I think we're rejecting on Monday, okay? And then we could be even more bearish on Thursday if the Japanese, if they start raising their rates. So could be a horrible week, could be an incredible week, but yeah, excited either way. Okay. Could be both. Could be both. Could be both. Okay. Have a good weekend, Jane. See you later. Guys, okay, you got the drill. If the market starts absolutely ripping, I'm going to be on. I'll do a show for you guys on Sunday. I'll make sure I'm available. If the market's pumping or something's going on, I'll do a show on Sunday night. Other than that, hackers, I'll see you in the live session on Sunday night. And guys, have a good weekend. Be safe. Okay. You know these alts at resistance. Be careful. Play it safe. See you guys later.